He says, my partner suffers from chronic nerve pain in her spine, which keeps her off the mountain. What are your thoughts, Kimmy, on scientific and spiritual healing? Would you share your journey and what's worked for you?
Thank you, Jimmy. That question gives me the chills. It's it's really hard to not have access to the mountain, and especially because of something that's painful. And I just, through the course of a lot of injuries that I've had, I had one injury where I drifted off a park jump and was off snow for about a year. And mentally, even my doctors were like, you should probably think this is the end of your career. And that was in 2012. I did so much reading, and there's a couple of books, and one of them is called Be Like Water, and the other one is called Thinking Body, Dancing Mind. And it really just gives you these tools on how to be present and to just take it one day at a time, and whatever you can do, like the can'ts, when we can't do something, sometimes that feels like the most overpowering limitation. But what I learned from having to sit, and even when I went through cancer, was like, what can I do? Like, I might not be able to go on my board, but like I could go outside and just listen to the wind. I could hear the birds. I could connect by sitting out on my porch and soaking up sunshine, finding the ways that we can do something rather than leaning into the negatives and hoping that drives like the energy field in the positive direction. Has always been really helpful for me. But I think everybody is different, but really like finding a way to stay in tune with what makes you happy, even if it's not the way it used to be.
Building off of that, I think that in snowboarding, and when you're working as an athlete in snowboarding, there's so much of your identity that is a part of that. And I mean, different stages in your life. Like you were saying, when you were younger, it was how you found the sense of belonging. The idea of just being a snowboarder is so fundamental to, our lives. But then when you have the mountains taken away from you, whether it's injury or when you were going through cancer, how did you grapple with that part of feeling of yourself and identity?
For so long, I think I thought like, I don't need it. Like I can do this. I can do hard things. All these, I tried to tell myself like the positive side of it all. And definitely when I was going through cancer, like injuries are one thing because it was an action that I did on my snowboard to create it or most of the time. And all I wanted to do was get back on my board. It was like, how quick can I recover from this so that I can get back to this thing that I love? But when I got diagnosed with cancer, I'd already been, at that point, like becoming a mom and learning how to balance my time and realizing that it kind of felt hard to get out on the mountain with the intention that I used to have. And then having my second baby, like I was only 9 months postpartum when I got diagnosed. So I was just starting that season with this optimistic mind of like, oh, cool, like I'll be able to show up again. And that diagnosis really rocked my world in a way where it was so unexpected, even though both my parents have died from cancer. It felt unreasonable. I was like, I don't want to die. I don't want to go through that. I didn't think that starting a family would lead me to that. And you're already like so vulnerable because you like have these two little things that like need you. And so like that diagnosis, like I had to be so strong because I was a mom. And I didn't feel strong, but the days that I could get on the mountain were like so life-giving. And I've told this story a lot, but there was one moment that was like so impactful, and it was Justin Eels called me and he FaceTimed me, and I wasn't expecting a FaceTime, and he called me from the Rutherford parking lot with a huge crew, like Haley Langland, Zoe, Benford, Gabe, maybe Mikey. Like there was a big posse there. Blatt was there. And it led, like, I think as soon as I saw his face and everybody, I started bawling. I was like sitting on the couch with Zepp and I was not feeling good. I think I had just got out of treatment and I was like back home. And it was probably like my third treatment in or second or third treatment in. And I just remember like I felt so disconnected from snowboarding. I felt like in a way it was like I had almost been forgotten. And he reminded me like I needed it. I needed the people. I needed the community. And I will never, ever forget how that made me feel because it was just, he didn't have to call. But it reminded me how important it is to call. If you're thinking of somebody, like, call them because you don't know. You don't know how down they are. And even if somebody pops into your mind, like, send them a text. It might be the universe just saying, like, this person needs you. And from that day forward, like, I remember running downstairs and telling Chris, like, oh my gosh, like, I was just like sobbing. And I was like, I need snowboarding. I need to find a way to like be back out there. And it was a great reminder of like how when we show up for people, they'll show up for you.